I was attempting to record a video for a different deck, but I kept running into Charizard, and honestly, it was kind of ruining my night. So I figured to be completely spiteful and play this Hydrapple deck on the ladder. I haven't played with Hydrapple yet, and it was a deck that I kind of wanted to test for a little bit. So I came together with this list based off some post-rotation Japanese list. So if you're interested in how the deck plays, it is completely rotation proof. Do not put any extra cards. The couple interesting things to note here is that we do have the Do the Wave Dipplin, which can double attack if you hit the festival grounds, which is kind of okay because it gives you a stadium bump. And we also have the one Zarude in here. The Zarude allows you to do nothing apparently. It allows you to do 80 damage, and if you return all the energy cards on it back to your hand, you'll do 80 more damage, which can allow you to either restack your Ogerpon draws or just allow you to put the damage somewhere else. I kind of like having the option for a non-EX attacker that isn't Dipplin in the deck, because it gives you alternative options around cards like Cornerstone, for example. Other than that, deck is really simple. We keep it super thin. Bug Catching Set is a pretty good card when you're playing the majority of grass Pokemon and 13 grass energies, so you get some really good value out of it. And if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe. Also, thank you guys for 2K. But other than that, let's get into the... Alrighty, I get started with the games here. There was something else I wanted to mention too. Did you guys know that the actor Terry Crews actually played a Pokemon match? He showed up on a Geek and Sunday. I don't quite remember. I'm gonna leave a link to the video inside the description just in case you're curious by this. But they hadn't played this Hydrapple deck, or not this exact version, but they hadn't played a Hydrapple deck. I just thought that was amusing. So anytime I think about Hydrapple, the only thing that comes to my mind is, remember that time Terry Crews played this deck? And that's been stuck in the back of my head ever since then. But, yeah, I do think the deck is kind of interesting. In fact, I was extremely shocked when I looked at Limitless and saw that Hydrapple didn't have a Limitless page. Like, I feel like out of all the mid slash okay decks, like Hydrapple is pretty far up there in terms of like things that I would show mild respect to. I feel like the damage ramps up pretty consistently, and it has just a shit ton of HP to deal with. So I feel like Hydrapple is probably like fairly well placed into the metagame, just that nobody's playing it, which, you know, happens sometimes. Sometimes you go to a deck that is just completely overlooked, and people just don't play it. And that's, that's just how it goes sometimes. There's nothing you can do about it. But what is going to happen is my opponent is going to be unable to evolve the Feebas here, which means my Diplo is going to come in and just take a free knockout. That's exciting. What's not exciting is the Cornerstone being able to get an easy knockout against my Dipplin. And I currently don't have an alternative game plan set up here, as it seems like they're playing a JP baked list. A lot of the English versions of this deck aren't playing the Furdraff. Oh wait, they can't even attack because of the stupid, what's it called, the stadium that they put down. Oh, that's hilarious. What the fuck? I completely forgot about that whenever this game. And I even hit the festival ground, so we're just straight up broken here. But as I was, trying to say before I got interrupted, my opponent seems to be playing the Japanese version instead of the English version. The English version plays the Noivern instead, because it's just a better body blocking ability against the majority of single prize, or against the majority of basic Pokemon. But the Furdraft seems to be more popular in Japan. I think it's probably just easier to set up, and I can't think of a lot of like basic attacking archetypes right now. Like there'd be like Baby Moon. Baby Moon are probably the most threatening thing that they can fight against. But other than that, we just haven't seen a lot of Baby Moon over there, so I see why they've opted to, not not do all that. They did put down another league headquarters, which is mildly annoying, and I'm like not in a super great position here. I feel like I should have perhaps held on to my what's it called? Onto my energy there that I attached onto the Hydrapple, I believe. Instead, it should have probably gone onto the Zarude, but it's fine, as we're able to just get another energy off the prizes. I'm really just trying to set myself up to knock this out with Zarude, because Zarude could probably just take over the rest of the game. And, I don't have another Dipplin set up. It's kind of my only way past this Ogerpon here. So we're just going to go ahead and immediately get rid of this Cornerstone threat. It's just kind of really annoying. And I'm actually glad I decided to play a version of Zarude, because not every deck included this card. But I was like, that's kind of a neat card. And on top of that, like I like showcasing new cards. But also, I was kind of scared of Cornerstone actually, because I've been seeing a lot more of this deck pop up. And if not just Cornerstone, I've been seeing a lot of like, or not just Wall, but I've been seeing a lot of Cornerstone being thrown in the random deck piles as well, which makes it, you know, a little bit more appealing to want to run it. My opponent does end up putting 7 damage onto the Zarude here, which is scary, because I kind of need this guy currently. My only other way of getting past this would be the Dipplin, but I do not have a Dipplin set up, and I'm kind of bench locked. I'm really regretting putting this Budew down and even like putting the energy on it, because it's just so unnecessary, but you know, it is what it is. And if I had the choice, I probably wouldn't have put the Budew down, especially because this deck isn't super item reliant. Like, the most that they could do is like, I don't know, like Buddy PAF and Nest Ball, grab another dude. I feel like a lot of their, you know, draw base is based off their supporters, and even their tools that they're running, like the TM packages, which I have no reason to believe they aren't. Anyways, as Mimikyu comes down again, I'm just gonna go ahead and slam this guy one more time. Thankfully, the actually killing my Budew earlier frees up a bench space, so I can put the Applin down, and that'll allow me to attack a Dipplin next turn. It, you know, obviously just win there, but my opponent could see this before we even have to see the rest of that. I feel like, I talked about this a little bit earlier, but I feel like this deck doesn't do too badly into some of the meta threats. Like, if Dragon Ball goes first, I think it's hard against that deck. But other than that, like, you scale your damage pretty well, and even have, like, the extra healing factor just in case. I also really like the Legacy Energy in this deck. It's just, one, another energy in the deck, so you don't really feel too bad about it. But also, like, the other aspects that you have available to you just, like, don't seem super phenomenal for what you could be doing. Like, you could be running Prime Catcher, but this is a deck that could just kind of sit one mod in the active and knock everything out. So you'd rather just be bossing. And then all the other ones are kind of whatever, like Secret Box, who cares? Grand Tree, you don't want to give your opponent that. So I really like the Legacy Energy here. It can also screw over the opponent's like prizes, especially if like knock out a Dipplin, right? If you start the game with a Dipplin, then you can offensively apply some pressure with it, and then even when they do knock it out, they're not taking any prizes. They still have to go through a bunch of other prizes after that. And it can also fuck up their prize raising. So if they're trying to go 2-2-2 on knocking out all your EX Pokemon, then it's just really nice to have the alternative option here that isn't going to get knocked out. I go ahead and do a pretty big Ultra Ball dump here in order to get the Ogerpon out, but I really want to get some damage onto this Gimmighoul, and I want to be able to knock out the Gimmighoul while also putting damage on the Greninja, because they have the wall with the Greninja next turn. I do want it to be knocked out. That way I can possibly take a knockout elsewhere. As it seems like my opponent is really struggling to set up here, as they have to Buddy PAF and a singular Golden or Gimmighoul out, which sucks for them. As I said, them also getting a Dark Energy off this and the Monkey Dory is a little bit sketch, but, you know, we'll work off of it. They also get the Cypher Maniac's Code Breaking, but only after the Greninja, so this is going to set up their next Traveler really well for them. As now I have the conundrum of what do I like do after this. I could go ahead and try to set up Hydrapple if I really feel like it, but there's a chance I'll get multiple KOs. I also have the boss's orders, which can allow me to knock out one of their attackers on the bench, but I'm trying to think about like where I'm gonna get the rest of my prizes from, and it might just be 2 Goldingos, which is why I'm like not too concerned about bossing one of these guys up. It would make my life easier, of course, but I'm just gonna go ahead and swing the attack and save the boss's orders just in case it might be helpful somewhere else. Like if my opponent ends up going to Goldingo here, and I can't knock it out, I'd want to take a knockout of one of the other guys in the bench instead, which is why I'd rather hold on to the boss's orders here. The Legacy Energy also has a really funny side effect of when your opponent knocks out a Pokemon, they take 1 less prize, which is the good effect, but it means that they have 1 less card in their hand, so they're really not working off a whole lot here, and they discarded 2 energies to get 0 prizes. Like, that's gotta feel really bad for the opponent here. So Yeah, and then we're also gonna be able to get that flip the script without losing any prizes, which is just like really funny to think about. They did all that work, finally got to play the game, and they're still gonna die to just Hydrapple damage. Also, because of the multiplier and the resistance, we do have to put on one extra energy to normally knock this out, which is a bit annoying. But we've successfully knocked the pegs underneath Golden Joe so badly that they can't really do much. Earlier, they also put a what's it called? I believe they put an energy recycle or energy search pro down, grabbed all their cards, and I owned everything to the bottom, which is just like really sad for them. Anyways, here's Charizard. I definitely was not going to make this video until I bullied one Charizard, but it was funny because I played those first two games, and then I queued into the Charizard, but I was like, dude, all I was hitting before that was Charizard. I was trying to play tomorrow's deck, I think. It should be tomorrow's deck for this video, but I was like, fuck, dude, I'm just like not getting the games I need. But this is not the type of Charizard I want to be hitting. We're hitting Chi-Yu Entei Charizard. Like, this is some weird shit. And on top of that, this means that they're actually going to have fire type attackers, which will absolutely cook me. I mean, I'll still roast the Charizard alive with my, the Hydrapple hitting for weakness and all that stuff. But man, I really did not want to hit like Chi-Yu and Entei. If they could get these guys powered up, then that's really dangerous for me, especially if they're able to go first. But it seems like they might be a bit stuck here, not really have anywhere else to go. And now I have to contemplate whether or not I want to use this Iono, because this Iono has a chance to give them way more stuff for setup. But they're kind of in a really bad position currently, and they obviously didn't play an energy, so I don't think they have a lot going for them, which is why I'm actually going to choose to restrain on using this Iono, I believe. I put the Mew down, which honestly isn't my brightest play. I'm thinking next turn, oh, Mew might draw me a few cards, but that's only kinda possible, especially if they end up playing a card such as like Iono themselves, which could reset my hand. So I think going for the Mew here was a bit overly ambitious. If anything, I should have perhaps just waited to see, because if they end up knocking me out this turn, then I would have the option to search out anything else, right? But who cares, essentially, because we get double Dipplin, baby. We can go ahead and use the Mew draw to draw a card. And we do lose a Night Stretcher, which sucks. And we also don't draw into Pokemon. I said, we do draw into 5 energy, so, who really cares? I'm just gonna go ahead and get an Ogerpon down. And this is where I'm, like, really wishing I didn't have a Mew, because the only thing Mew has done so far is knock out one of my own, or not knock out one of my own stuff, but limit my bench slot from having a Fezandipiti down. Which kind of blows. I also don't have the Festival of Grounds in play, which is also probably another oversight on my side of the field, because now I don't kill the Chi-Yu, and this damage is kind of like meaninglessly dumped. It could have been nice somewhere else, but it is what it is. And now they're going to be able to knock out my Dipplin, or perhaps even a... Oh, I was going to say they could, like, boss up a Ogerpon or counter-catcher it, but they play the Crispin, and they don't have less prizes than me. So they're just going to go ahead to the Entei, which is probably respectable. It means that they're not going to give up a Chi-Yu to, like, my Dipplin coming in and just swaying afterwards, and they're going to get the Flea-Footed draw. So I have to find a way to respond to this quickly, which means it's about time that I just start saying Hydrapple in. Thankfully, with the cards on the field right now, there's not anything else that's really too threatening to me, just because, like, the Chi-Yu can't one-shot me, and the Charizard also can't one-shot me because it's a Dark type. So in this position, I'm feeling kind of fine. I'm just going to continue to put as many energies in play and try to ramp up to the point that I am able to knock out this Entei. And I do believe I just barely get there with the 240. I do also have to consider, like, this Ultra Ball on whether or not, like, I want to grab a Dipplin or if I want to use Night Stretcher for it. I kind of figure going down this route would at least let me another card draw with the Mew. So I decided to do that, and I could just Night Stretcher for the Hydrapple later, just if I need to. The only downside of that is if they end up playing an Iono right now, then I have to find specifically my Night Stretcher in order to get the Hydrapple back. But I do believe there might also be another Hydrapple in the deck at this point, so overall I think we're fine. I think one of the Hydrapple's big pluses currently is its huge HP pool and not very exploitable weakness. That's sort of the same case for like a deck like Dragapult right now, where a Dragapult can get set up pretty quickly, start swinging pretty quickly, and then there's no other like there's no like immediate follow up that could just knock it out unless you're playing a deck like like Chi-Pao, for example. That's just gonna knock out everything in front of it, which is why I think like Dragapult feels so strong currently. But we do have other ways of exploiting it, and I really think like once this deck gets rolling, there's hardly anything you can do because you've already established so much stuff on the field. I'm going to have to use my Night Stretcher in order to get the Hydrapple set up now, because I'm about to boss up the Charizard, I believe. I think it's just what my easy prize is. If they continue attacking the Chi-Yu, then it's going to be super susceptible to just being knocked out by, like, a Teal Mask or something. So I want to be able to threaten the one thing that can, like, one-shot anything on my field, whereas the Chi-Yu really can't. If they just set it up, of course, like, I'm already super close to being able to get a knockout. They also dropped the Flareon into the Precious Trolley on me, and at this point I'm just like, okay, we really hit the most deranged Charizard player on the ladder currently, but that's fine, because they're losing to the grass deck. And they're also dropping Crushing Hammer on me, so like, was I really prepared for all this? Not entirely. I did mention this deck was post-rotation proof. I was looking to see like if there's any like pre-rotation cards on 1-2 run. The only thing that could like maybe come to mind is like Radiant Greninja, just because you play so many energies, so have another way that draw cards is kind of nice. Alternatively, if you really want to fuck over Dragon Ball, you can run a Radiant Serena and just fuck up all the math. Because what you could do, or what Dragon Ball would probably want to do to you, is spread damage on all your bench Ogerpons, and so the Radiant Serena would give you a way of clearing that damage. They can still manipulate it to a way that they can take knockouts, so what they would end up doing instead is they'd probably put 3 damage counters on each of the Teal Mask, to make sure that even after you clear it, they can still knock it out. But you could use Hydrapple's heal if you don't need it onto like your active or anything to clear even more damage off that way, and just make it even more difficult for your opponent to find knockouts that way. I'm gonna go ahead and Iono and just see like how far this can get me. Nothing in my hand is really worth using, and I really want to be able to just try to knock out this Flare on this turn for real. Which is why I'm doing everything in the order I'm doing. I'm trying to maximize the amount of cards I'm able to draw here, and we do like barely get there, I believe. All I have to do is manually attach this Legacy Energy, and then use Teal Dance to get the other one into the field. So this is kind of another one of those cases where the Legacy Energy is pretty good. If I wasn't running the Legacy Energy, I'd be running another, what's it called? I'd be running another, like, Grass Energy in that slot, but yeah, that's cool. Hydrapple is cool. I really don't have much else to say on this deck. It's kind of basic. It's really easy to play. But it's cool. I like stacking damage up. I like building up these impossible to beat fields. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you